Since we wrapped up season 4, I've been noticing a lot of questions and theories from listeners, and there's one that keeps coming up again and again. Could feral hogs have killed Christopher Whiteley? That's a fair question. During the season, we talked a lot about mountain lions and dogs, but we didn't spend much time on feral hogs. And the truth is, there were pig tracks at the scene. The sheriff's office confirmed it with drone footage. So why didn't we explore this more? Well, it turns out that Mike Bodenchuk, the federal wildlife expert that you heard from throughout the season, had a lot more to say about feral hogs than made it into the main episodes. And he told me about another case, one that was definitely feral hogs, that he actually investigated in Southeast Texas. It was a woman who was possibly killed and was definitely eaten by a pack of wild pigs. It's one of the most disturbing cases Mike has ever investigated, and it shows just how dangerous these animals can be.
That was the damnedest thing I have ever seen. That's even weirder than this. That feeding on a human body is
nightmare.
From Free Range Productions in association with the Dallas Morning News, this is a bonus episode of Season 4 of The Unforgotten, Kill Site. I'm your host, Wes Ferguson, and today we're asking, could feral hogs have killed Christopher Whiteley? Let me start by telling you just a bit more about Mike Bodenchuk, because when it comes to understanding what kills livestock and wildlife in Texas, Mike's experience is hard to match.
You know, I'm a biologist. I spent my whole career on predators and feral hogs and beavers.
That's right. Mike did not just study mountain lions. He spent 34 years working with the USDA Wildlife Services, investigating animal attacks of all kinds, including feral hogs.
When I was in Utah, the state had a compensation program for domestic livestock that were killed by lions or black bears. And so we would necropsy, autopsy a dead animal, every kill that we found to see what it was. In fact, it was just as important to say this was not killed by a mountain lion, this was killed by a coyote or a dog or a car, as it was to say it was killed. But we've looked at thousands of kills.
Thousands of kills. So when Mike showed up at the scene of Christopher's death, he knew exactly what to look for. When Mike and the Texas Parks and Wildlife team investigated Christopher's death back in December 2020, they found evidence of feral hogs in the area. Mike documented that in his official site visit report. About 30 feet from where Christopher's backpack was found, there was a feral hog track. But that track was from a small pig, and it looked like that pig had been just running through the area. The sheriff's office had also put up a drone for an aerial look at the scene, and they spotted a pig from the air.
There were pig tracks near the body, but they also told me that the sheriff's office had put up a drone for an aerial look and actually saw a pig from the air. So pig tracks in the woods in Texas is not a novel thing.
He's right about that. Feral hog attacks are extremely rare. When they do happen, it could be because a sow is protecting her piglets, or a boar is just backed in a corner and feels extremely threatened. I've spent a lot of time in the woods over the years, so I've encountered feral hogs quite a bit, and I've never seen anything resembling aggression. You know, they're always running the other way. But it's not unheard of for a feral hog to attack a human, and there have been a handful of fatalities from hog attacks over the last 100 years or so. If you spent any time in rural Texas, you know feral hogs are everywhere.
The feral hog is an exotic invasive species.
And they're taking over. These hogs are causing billions in damage, spreading faster than a bad reality TV show.
Texas is under siege, and the enemy? Feral pigs, that's right.
There are an estimated 2 to 3 million wild pigs roaming the state,
causing chaos, destruction, and a whole lot of drama.
So finding pig tracks in the woods, that's just another Tuesday in Texas. But Mike was looking for more than tracks. He was looking for signs of predation, signs of an attack, and signs of feeding. And he didn't find any of that. There were no tusk marks on Christopher's body, no evidence that he'd been gored or trampled, and no indication that hogs had tried to feed on him. In fact, aside from that horrible wound to Christopher's neck and some superficial scratches from running through the woods, Christopher's body was intact. Mike's conclusion was clear. The pig tracks were just a coincidence. Pigs had been in the area, probably rooting around for food, but they had not attacked Christopher. But that doesn't mean Mike ruled out hogs entirely. He had another theory, one that involved both a dog and a pig. And it goes like this. In rural Texas, hog hunting with dogs is pretty common. Hunters use specially trained pit bulls called catch dogs. These dogs are bred and trained for one purpose, to grab a wild hog and hold it down until the hunter arrives.
It's not unusual for people to hunt hogs with dogs, pit bull dogs. And the way those catch dogs catch their prey is to grab them by the cheek or the jowl or the base of the ear and hold that pig down until somebody comes and gets that pig.
Now picture this. It's early morning in the woods near Lipan. Christopher is out there for whatever reason. Maybe he's disoriented from the meth in his system, and maybe he just hears something. A pig squealing, a dog snarling, and he comes upon a scene. A catch dog has locked onto a wild hog. They're thrashing and fighting, and the pig is screaming. The dog's jaws are clamped onto the pig's head. And Christopher, for whatever reason, tries to intervene.
It's possible that he heard a pig squealing, went out there and found a dog and a pig locked up and tried to intervene, and the dog actually turned on him just as a reflex.
If you've ever tried to break up a dog fight, you know how dangerous that can be. Now imagine the dog is a 60-pound pit bull bred specifically to take down wild hogs, and it's already locked into that kill mode, that adrenaline-fueled frenzy.
I don't go in there and try and get the dog off the pig. It's not my dog. But that dog's pretty worked up. That pig's pretty worked up. And if you go in there and try and pull a dog and a pig apart, you could get bit. We'll never know. Absolutely never know. But somehow, while he was on his knees, he got attacked.
So even if it was just a kind of a reflex, just a quick snap, it could have done that much damage.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
It's a theory, it's speculation. But based on Mike's decades of experience with predators and livestock attacks, and it's one of the few explanations that kinda sorta fits some of the evidence. The dog tracks found on the property, the pig tracks, the massive damage to Christopher's throat with no other defensive wounds, and the fact that there was blood on Christopher's jeans suggests he was standing or maybe kneeling when he was attacked.
Mr. Whiteley's pants had blood from his pockets to his knees, but not soaked from his knees to the cuff. There were speckles there. And so I believe when the attack occurred, he was on his knees and bled out that way. The speckles that were on his boots and on the lower part of his legs is when he got up and stumbled.
So I've also seen a photo of these jeans, and I kind of disagree with Mike. Yes, there is a lot more blood on the upper half of the jeans, but there's still some on the lower legs, and I wouldn't just say that there were speckles on his boots. I thought there was a lot of blood on the tops of his boots. But let's just go with Mike's theory. Christopher was on his knees when he was attacked. Then he got up and stumbled before collapsing. That detail fits with Mike's theory about Christopher intervening in a dog and pig fight. If he knelt down, he tried to separate them, and that's when the dog turned on him. One other detail that makes me skeptical of this theory is that nobody in the sheriff's office, not Mike, not anybody from Texas Parks and Wildlife, found signs of a big scuffle. There wasn't like broken branches, there wasn't like dust kicked up, things that you would have seen if there had been this knockdown, drag-out fight between a pig and a dog in the woods. But feral hogs are not just bystanders in other animals' attacks. Under the right circumstances, they can be predators themselves. And Mike told me about a case that maybe proves it. So I just got a couple of pillowcase covers from Quince for our living room sofa. They had a lot of colors to choose from, but these are terracotta, which goes with our Southwestern theme we've got going on. And It has a slub texture that's really cozy and elevated but effortless. Of course, Quince has got wardrobe staples with quality that's made to last. And Quince works directly with safe, ethical factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're not paying for any brand markup, just high-quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up season after season. The stitching, the fit, the fabrics. These are pieces you'll reach for over and over. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/unforgotten for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/unforgotten to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/unforgotten. My wife Laura and I are in our 40s now, and I've noticed that she really likes to wear makeup that looks as natural as possible.
One of the products that I really turn to for that is Jones Road Beauty Miracle Balm. It's a really subtle flush, and I'm really drawn to the fact that I can throw it in my bag and use it both as an enhancer for my cheeks and my lips. One of our new products I'm particularly excited about is an eyeshadow stick. You can swipe it on with one finger. It goes on without a brush. Nothing falls off on your finger. It's just really easy to use.
Modern day makeup that's clean, strategic, and multifunctional for effortless routines. For a limited time, our listeners are getting a free Shimmer Face Oil on their first purchase when they use code UNFORGOTTEN at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code UNFORGOTTEN at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them the Unforgotten sent you. Mike Bodenchuk has investigated thousands of animal attacks over his 34-year career. Coyotes killing sheep, mountain lions taking down deer, bears raiding campsites. He's seen it all. But there's one case that still haunts him. A case in Chambers County in southeast Texas in a small community called Anahuac. And when Mike told me about it, he said it was even weirder than Christopher's death.
Are you familiar with that Anahuac pig attack?
Well, I remember when it made the headlines, but, you never hear about a pig, doing anything like that.
It's more than one pig. I did get called in on that one, too.
An extremely violent attack from wild hogs results in the death of a woman in Anahuac. A deadly attack is rare, but from Chambers County to Newton to here in Beaumont, feral hogs are a big problem.
I absolutely remember that case. It was back in November 2019, 1 year before Christopher was killed. The victim was a 59-year-old woman named Christine Rollins who worked as a late-night caregiver. She would show up around midnight to care for a couple, stay through the night, and leave in the morning. One morning when that couple woke up, she wasn't there. They went outside and found her body on the front lawn.
And this is going to sound as weird today as it did the day I did it. They showed us the photos. I didn't go to the scene. Mm-hmm. The pigs fed on that one.
The pigs fed on her. Portions of her legs were gnawed away. The local sheriff announced this woman had been attacked and killed by feral hogs.
It was probably still dark, and that's when hogs routinely move, is in the dark hours.
This is Chambers County Sheriff Brian Hawthorne speaking at a press conference right after the woman was found dead.
And it looks like she had gotten out of her car and locked it because the car was locked, and then was probably trying to make her way to the front door when it appears that these animals must have come along. It's unbelievably tragic. This is a very rare incident, but in my 35 years, I will tell you it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
She found in the grass, but she hit her head on the concrete. There's a bite mark on her shoulder. One set of teeth on the front side, one on the back side. The pig grabbed her shoulder. The only way for that to happen is if she's on the ground, right? They're not going to jump up here.
Right. The theory maybe she had some kind of medical episode. Or
No, I think they knocked her down. She hit her head, and then while she was down, they attacked her.
Wow.
But they fed on her. She died of exsanguination. She bled to death, and there were dozens, if not hundreds, of holes from tusks where they given, but they ate meat off of that like a predatory attack.
Mike's theory is that the garage door was open. The woman arrived for her shift around midnight. Maybe the pigs had been in the garage eating dog food. When she came up the driveway, they got spooked or aggressive and they knocked her over. She hit her head on the concrete, and then while she was incapacitated, they fed on her.
A week later, there's no DNA or anything like that, but that was the damnedest thing I have ever seen. That's even weirder than this. That feeding on a human body is
nightmare.
The Anahuac case made national headlines when it happened. A woman killed by feral hogs. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but it was real. And it raises an obvious question. If feral hogs killed that woman in Anahuac, could they have killed Christopher Whiteley? The answer is no, at least not in the way they killed Christine Rollins. In Anahuac, Ms. Rollins had dozens, if not hundreds, of tusk wounds all over her body. The pigs had fed on her, torn flesh from her back. There was clear evidence of a pack attack, of predation, of consumption. Christopher had none of that. His body was intact except for that wound to his neck. No tusk marks, no evidence of being gored or trampled, no signs that hogs had tried to eat him, and honestly, not a ton of tracks. They just saw that one track 30 feet away, and they saw that one little pig on their drone footage.
So while the Anahuac case proves that feral hogs are absolutely capable of killing a human being, it also shows what that kind of attack looks like. And Christopher's death didn't look like that. But that hog hunting dog theory, I guess that's still on the table. Because a catch dog locked onto a pig in that heightened state of aggression and adrenaline could absolutely inflict a massive wound with one reflexive bite. Especially to someone who got too close, who tried to intervene, who put themselves in harm's way. We'll never know for sure what happened to Christopher that morning in the woods outside Lipan. But what we do know is this: feral hogs can be dangerous, they're unpredictable, and under the right circumstances, they can kill. Whether they had anything to do with Christopher's death, we may never know, because the investigation was closed before those questions could be answered. I'm going to leave you with some advice for what to do in case you encounter a feral hog out in the wild. It's not something I ever really thought about too much because I wasn't really scared of them until now, I guess maybe a little bit. When you see them, obviously don't approach them, don't harass them, don't corner them. Back away slowly. A big group of pigs is called a sounder. And if you're out in the woods and suddenly there is this sounder all running towards you, you can just hop behind a tree. And odds are they're all going to run right past. They're not going to bother you at all. Also, if you remember back to Old Yeller, that boy climbed the tree to get away from hogs. That works just fine too. Kind of just using common sense here. Also, stay out of thick underbrush where hogs travel. Keep your pets secured, and just give them some space. Don't hassle them, and they won't hassle you. Except for tearing up your yard. They'll still do that.
The Unforgotten is a free-range production. Season 4 Kill Site was produced in association with the Dallas Morning News. I'm your host, Wes Ferguson. Charlie Scudder and I are executive producers. Our editor is Aislinn Gaddis. Sound design and audio engineering is usually provided by Austin Sisler at Eastside Studios, but Austin just had a kid, so he is on paternity leave. Huge congrats to Austin and his wife for the birth of their baby girl. If you haven't already yet, you can sign up for our newsletter at unforgottenpod.com. Thanks so much for listening throughout this season, and we are going to be back very soon with the next season of The Unforgotten. More on that soon.